Every single day, small business owners are out there making these huge decisions based on their experience, little conversations they have, and just that gut feeling. We call it the innovator's intuition. But what if that same intuition, the very thing that got their business off the ground, is actually hiding a massive blind spot? One that could literally put them out of business. So let's meet our guide for today. He's the owner of a really successful commercial HVAC company. And when he gets an idea for a new product, this is his go-to playbook. It seems pretty straightforward, right? You build a little something, you show it to customers, you tweak it based on what they say, and then you launch it. It's a hands-on approach that, let's be honest, a lot of entrepreneurs will recognize. And what's really interesting is where these ideas even come from. I mean, it's not some fancy formal R&D lab. They just kind of pop up organically. A salesperson is chatting with a customer, or maybe an engineer hears a little rumor about what a competitor's up to. The whole process is really reactive, happening totally on the fly. Now, on the surface, this all seems perfectly logical. Of course, you're listening to the market, you're building things, you're iterating. But when we zoom out from this one company and we look at the entire landscape for all small businesses, a much, much tougher reality starts to take shape. This brings us to what I call the small business gauntlet. It's this journey where, passion and great ideas are absolutely essential, but so often they're just not enough. The statistics, well, they paint a pretty stark picture of the odds. And these numbers are pretty sobering. Check this out. 1 in 5 new businesses gone within the first year. By the 5-year mark, that number jumps to half. And if you make it to 10 years, well, 2/3 of the businesses that started with you have closed their doors. It is an incredibly tough journey. Okay, so what's the deal? The immediate thought for most of us is that it has to be about money, right? They just run out of cash. And, well, that's a huge factor, for sure. But the data from literally thousands of failed startups points to a different, more fundamental culprit. And really understanding this one single point, man, it can change everything. We're about to uncover that hidden culprit, the main reason that so many promising businesses end up shutting down for good. Just look at that top bar. At a staggering 42%, the number one reason for failure is no market need. It's not running out of cash. That's number 2. It's not having the wrong team. It's simply building something that nobody actually wants to buy. So here's the thing you really got to get. Businesses don't just fail because they run out of money. They run out of money because they can't find enough customers. They spend all this time, all this effort, and all this capital building a solution to a problem that just wasn't real enough or wasn't painful enough for people to actually open their wallets. Okay, so let's circle all the way back to our HVAC business owner. That number one reason for failure, no market need, it connects directly to his intuitive gut feel process. And it reveals this massive but super common blind spot. So during the interview, after he'd laid out his whole process of building prototypes and then tweaking them, he was asked this one pivotal question. Do you ever evaluate the idea itself to figure out if you should even develop it in the first place? And his answer is just incredibly honest and so revealing. He just says, I hadn't thought about that. Wow. In that one short sentence, you see the entire blind spot. He's so focused on perfecting the solution that he completely skips the most important step, making sure he's working on the right problem. And this right here is the absolute core of the issue. He was a total expert at prototype validation, testing if his machine actually worked the way it was supposed to. But he was completely bypassing idea evaluation, which is testing if the problem his machine solves is a real, urgent, and valuable one for his customers. One is asking, did we build it right? The other is asking, should we even build it at all? So how do we fix this, right? How do you move from this high-risk, gut-feel approach to something that actually de-risks your ideas and lets you go to market with real confidence? Well, you move from an ad hoc process to a system. And the first step is just admitting there's a gap. And our HVAC owner, he does exactly that. When he's asked how he tracks all these ideas, he says, we don't have a system just for this, no formal system. He knows there's a missing piece in his innovation puzzle. And here's the contrast, just laid bare. On one side, you have that ad hoc process. It's reactive, it's based on hunches, and it's super high risk because you're busy validating prototypes for problems that might not exist. But on the other side, you have a systematic process. It's proactive, it's informed by data, you de-risk everything because you evaluate the idea first, creating a clear path to building something you already know customers will pay for. And the proof is right here in the results. A formal system like this, it doesn't just organize your thoughts, it becomes an engine for growth. You get more ideas, period, because now you have a central place to capture them. But more importantly, you filter those ideas through a really rigorous process. And that means more good ideas, the ones with a proven market need, actually make it to the prototype phase. You stop wasting time and money on dead ends, which is exactly how you get what our owner wanted all along. Faster, more confident commercialization. So at the end of the day, this is the million-dollar question that every innovator, every entrepreneur has to ask themselves. Are you building a solution, or are you just building a really, really good prototype for a problem that nobody actually has? Answering that question correctly before you invest a dime is the difference between becoming another statistic and building a business that's truly built to last.